6 months after removing non-native salt-cedar trees at Mesilla Valley Bosque State Park, park employees claimed the removal was even more beneficial to the local habitat than expected. Mesilla Valley Bosque Superintendent Kirwan says the state park is a better habitat for wildlife now, since 30 acres of salt-cedar trees were removed 6 months ago.
It's opened up the grasses to come up and the grasses to seed, so there's more food source for the migratory birds that are coming through. It's more open for the bobcat and all to come out and hunt, the rabbits and all that are out here. It starts to balance our system back out.
Kirwan says the salt-cedar trees were introduced to the area more than 100 years ago to control the flow of the Rio Grand River. And while she says they did a great job controlling the river, they didn't do much for the natural habitat.
It doesn't support a lot of wildlife. It is what some people refer to as a water hog. It totally changes the hydrological patterns of the area, which makes it almost impossible for any of the wetland species to come up because it uses so much of that water.
According to Kirwan, the recent $100,000 restoration to get rid of some of the salt-cedar at Mesilla Valley Bosque State Park has been an even bigger success than she expected.
The native seed bed that was underneath the salt-cedar that has seen the light of the sun and gotten all that on it now is growing and coming up just more than I anticipated.
Wildlife biologist Bret Beasley with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service contends removing the salt-cedar trees is necessary because it's something the Rio Grand River can no longer do on its own by flooding.
Well, the land can't take care of itself anymore because we've altered the flow regime of the river. So we have to come in and kind of do what the river can't do for itself anymore. If we don't do that, these habitats and associated wildlife species will diminish.
Beasley says he's pleased with the amount of native grasses and plants that have returned to the area and is hopeful they'll be able to plant more native trees in the future.
We've talked with the park here about planting cottonwoods and willows and some other containerized shrubs.
Kirwan says the next step now is to make sure the salt-cedar trees don't reinvade the area they were removed from. For KRWG, I'm Jared Anderson.